To recount, September 11th, 2 wars, the anthrax attacks. These were the events that took place while I was press secretary. And what I will forever take with me and what I will forever remember from holding that job are the places that I went, the people that I met, those events of history that I participated in. For in this job, I twice got to meet Pope John Paul II. In this job, I once got to meet Shaquille O'Neal. In this job, I traveled everywhere with President Bush. I had the most easy, wonderful commute. I was picked up on the South Lawn in a helicopter. Actually, the president was picked up on the South Lawn in a helicopter. He allowed me to get in it. I got to fly Air Force One, where never once, not even on a rainy Friday in New York, did I hear the words, "We're number 17 for takeoff." I miss Air Force One. But because I traveled with the president everywhere, I was with him all day on September 11th. From the moment we left the motorcade in Sarasota, Florida, when I got a page, this was in the days before BlackBerrys, the days before iPhones, I got a page telling me that an aircraft had hit the World Trade Center. I went into the school with the president, and when Andy Card whispered in the president's right ear as he was reading in that room to those school children that a second plane has hit the second tower, America is under attack, I was standing some 15 feet to the left of the president on the other side of the room. And after we left the school and boarded the motorcade, and it was en route in the motorcade to Air Force One that we got word that the Pentagon had been hit. Once we boarded, I sat in my seat in the staff cabin for the takeoff, and then I spent the entire rest of the day in the president's cabin, taking notes on everything the president did and said on that historic day. And then 3 days later, on the most emotional day I had at the White House, the toughest day I had at the White House, I came home. I accompanied the president to the city where I was born, to the place that my father commuted to every day, New York City, to a place where I had lunch with my family at Windows on the World once. And I stood in the rubble that used to be 2 buildings, 110 stories high. It had been reduced to some 7 stories of melted steel and ash beneath my feet. And 1 hour later, I went to the Jacob Javits Center with the president for a meeting that was supposed to last for 45 minutes. It lasted instead for 2 hours. As the president met with people whose relatives were missing 3 days after the attack on our country. Every single soul in that room believed that their loved one would come out alive. I remember one woman came up to me and she told me that her brother was a Marine. And if anybody knew how to survive, she said, it was her brother. And sadly, not one relative, not one person came out alive 3 days after the attack on our country. And I tell you this story because this is the fabric of America. These are the events that test us as who we are as a people and how we will respond. And I am proud of how we responded under President Bush's leadership and how we stood strong for America, how he was a leader for America, how we sent the world that we will do what is necessary to defend America. It's also a testament to the fabric of our country that at a time when politics can be pretty raw and the parties can go at each other, it doesn't take much. We unite as a country fast, because that also is an American bond that goes back hundreds of years. That too is the story of our country. No matter what the party differences are, we must always be and always remain one country and one people united. And that's essential, and you know that when you work at the White House. It's a forever part of who we are as a people. Yes, we will have political differences and we will settle them with elections. And I want to win every single one of those elections. But when any foreign nation, any group of terrorists, anybody, anywhere, tests us, we should stand together and stand strong, because that's part of the American history. And now, we are at a powerful moment in time. We live in an era, a big era of big differences and big choices. We live in a post-9/11 world, but another 9/11 could happen at any minute. ISIS is on the rise and the perceptions of America's leadership are on the decline. Our allies are dismayed by our lack of resolve, and our adversaries, from Iran to Hamas to Hezbollah and now ISIS, are filling the voids. Even Cuba has learned that if you give us nothing, you will get something. I only wish that President Obama would treat Israel as well as he's treated Cuba. The world would be a better place. We live in difficult economic times where too many people in the middle class question whether they can make it, or whether the American dream is still for them. And way too many people, low-income people, struggle just to pay their rent, put food on the table, take care of their children, and enjoy a lifestyle that people in America have been and always should be able to achieve. America always has and must always be a land of opportunity, a land of freedom, a land of earned success. People must know that if they work hard and they're honest, the sky is the limit in the United States of America. But our political opposition's view of government can be summed up as follows. Everyone has a right to everything. Everything can be redistributed by the government. The government will find someone to pay your bills because someone somewhere makes more than you do. And you deserve something for nothing. This is what's gone wrong with our country. This is what's starting to fray some of the common bonds we all share when we say we're all in this together. How can we all be in this together to lift up the needy, to help the poor, to do what is necessary for all boats to rise, when constantly the government looks at one citizen and says, I will take from you to hand to another? Redistribution of income has played an important role in lifting people up in our society, but has reached its limits. If all the trillions that have been spent were doing the job they were supposed to do, why is poverty so high? Why do we have still so many problems throughout our society? Instead, we need to focus differently, think differently, and have new ways of helping people. And is it any wonder that for 6 years, the economy has been so weak, job growth so low, especially for those without skills or without good educations, that they have gotten to the point where we have record numbers of people just quitting, dropping out of the workforce. We're a caring country. We are a loving country. We're a country that wants the poorest among us, those who struggle the most among us, to have every opportunity to rise like everyone else. People are giving up. People are quitting, especially those with high school degrees, and maybe just a little bit more. We cannot be a country like that. The last 6 years have been the toughest on the very people who actually need real help the most. Instead, we need what I call the great investment. Take areas where the government is wasting money, doing things that it is not capable of doing, and let it be done by those who know how to do it best. Free citizens can do these things better than the government. I call it the great private investment. You'll be amazed how much can get done if it's not the government doing it. And fellow Republicans, we as a party also need what I call the new approach. Particularly in minority communities, Republicans need to approach people in a new way, in a way that listens, in a way that cares, in a way that helps. We need a new approach to solving our problems. The old approach has led to record poverty, high unemployment, particularly for minorities, outrageously high teenage unemployment, failed schools, and broken homes. Our new approach must be welcoming, and it must be inclusive. And as we ask people to try something new, something different, something more caring than the government, we have to make the private sector work for all Americans, especially those who struggle to climb the economic ladder of life. People want good jobs. People want good pay. People want a chance to rise. That is the story of our country as well. And it is our policies, our Republican policies, that give people the best chance to make those dreams come true. And as we look at our 2016 candidates, a wide-ranging field where the first debate is going to be in just over 5 months from now, the first Republican primary presidential debate is going to take place. If you want to create jobs in America, be the people building the stage for that debate. There are going to be some 24 candidates on stage at my last count. That's where the jobs will get created. But here are the things that I'm looking for a presidential candidate to deliver on. I'm neutral in this race. As close as I am to Jeb and to the Bush family, there are many candidates that I'm looking at. And I'm a capitalist. I am capitalist in political ideas just as I am in economics. I want to see them compete. It's good for the heart. It's good for the soul. It's good for the brain of our party. Let's see what they can come up with. What's new? What's different? What's better? Here's what I'm looking for. First, I want a candidate who has specific and positive ideas about what they'll do for America. Everybody knows that the Republican Party is the party that opposes President Obama. I want a presidential candidate to lead the way in defining what the Republican Party is for, not what we're against. We need to be the party of ideas. And the ideas that I'm looking for the most are a growth-oriented reform of the tax code. I was talking to the mayor earlier, and he was telling me how he creates jobs here, and he does it by going in and creating the environment that will lead the private sector to conclude that Binghamton is the place to come and create the jobs. That's what we need to do in the tax code. The tax code cannot be about taking from one citizen and redistributing and giving to another citizen. The tax code has to be about creating economic growth for all. So the government isn't doing all the redistributing, but the private sector is. The pay goes up, salaries go up for workers, especially working people. I want corporate reform, so corporations, so businesses have a chance to grow and develop with lower rates. I want to replace Obamacare. We cannot be the party that's just against it. We have to be the party that also fulfills our word, gives people better health care, and brings competition into the equation so prices come down, so policies can be affordable. I also especially want to be the party that fights poverty in a way that works. This is a calling. This is something where all of us have a bond to help those who are needy among us. That's how I was raised. And when you see government programs that are trapping people for life, we as Republicans have such a great opportunity to do something meaningful, to lift people up, to give a child hope that when he sees his mother leave the house in the morning, that she's going to a job, coming home, and that is a role model for that child to grow up with. This is how you help people. This is how you build a great future. It's not through government. It's not through dependence. It's through opportunity. And this is where our party has to be. I want to see us become an exporting of energy country, providing energy around the world to offset President Putin and to create jobs in America. And I especially want to see a presidential candidate who believes and will act on peace through strength, through a military buildup. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a reason that I am a Republican. I am a Republican because it is our ideas that do the most to pick people up, to help them get ahead, and to unabashedly instill in them a sense of duty, honor, and country. I am a Republican because I believe in what I call the new social justice. My heart tells me that we have an obligation to help the poor and to fight poverty, but my mind tells me that nothing helps more than the opportunities that are created through capitalism, especially through hard work, individual responsibility, and education, with the government acting as a safety net and not as a permanent trap. It is also the role of government to enforce the law so we're protected from crime, white collar or blue, and from discrimination. And I am a Republican because my heart tells me that we have a moral obligation to pass our values onto our children. And my mind tells me that those values stem from love of country, devotion to family, faith, education, dedication to education, and a belief in individual abilities. And I am a Republican because I believe in peace through strength. Ladies and gentlemen, it is our ideas, it is our conservative, uplifting, hopeful ideas that can take deep root in this country again, that can lead the way to a Republican White House once more. And think about what the golden opportunity is we have before us. A Republican House, a Republican Senate, and a Republican White House just over the horizon. Do your part. Stay active. Be part of the Broome County Republican organization. Help local candidates. Give money. Lend your support. Knock on doors. Volunteer. Support the cause. We belong to the right cause. We belong to the cause that gives people hope for this country. And I'm proud to be a part of that cause. I'm proud to be a Republican. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. It's my honor to be with you.